Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Money Minded on Soul Sisters 10X platform. I am Sharon Hawkins here with you again. Today is June the 7th, 2024. Hoping everyone is doing well. Hoping all is well with everyone. Great to be back on the platform one more time. All right, we're going to dive right into it once again. Last week we were talking about being an entrepreneur, and I know that might have seemed kind of a lot. And where are we going with this? Seeing we're just trying to get money minded, and all of a sudden you want me to the times when you're thinking about being an entrepreneur or when the word entrepreneur is mentioned, we always think about somebody who runs their own business, who is well off, rich, already established financially, that kind of thing. Which a lot of times is the case. But the name of this platform is being money minded. So what we're working on now is trying to get you to be um, entrepreneurship minded and to being having that same mindset that an entrepreneur has. And just to go over again, I went over the definition of it last week. But the part that really stuck out to me in the definition of being an entrepreneur is someone who drives to solve a problem. All right, someone who strives to drives to solve a problem. All right, so our problem is we need to be money minded. We want to be debt free, out of debt. Praise the Lord, Sister Fields, how are you tonight? We want to be out of debt free. Myself, my goal is for retirement, things of that nature, or just to be well off, not have to live check to check. So to be that way, we have to have that entrepreneur mind. All right, so we're just going to revisit that a little bit again tonight. Remember, we want to think of an entrepreneur as somebody who likes or needs to solve a problem. Our problem is it could be your problem could be you could be someone in debt. Your problem could be you don't know how to save money, or you have an impulse spending problem, whatever the case might be. So we want to make sure that we work on changing our mindset, because when our mindset is changed, then it may be a little bit easier to be able to save money, get debt free. And it's just like anything else in life. Whatever you put your mind to, and if you really have your mind set up on a goal and a mission, then you can accomplish it. But the first thing that we have to do is get our mind right, and we got to really be in tune with it. Okay. So when you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, we talked last week. I was talking about social media, and I was giving some different ideas. I was talking about I called it a side hustle, getting a second job. We were talking, and this is 2024. There's a lot of things. So I told you I was going to do a little bit more research, which I did. Let me bring up my notes here, a little bit on being social media. I looked it up, and they're actually called influencers, because it really blew my mind when I was looking into it, and I found out, if you get a certain amount of followers on different platforms, that the platforms will start to pay you a dividend. They will pay you money. So it's called an influencer. The number of followers you have, so they have different stages of it. They call it nano influences, is anywhere between 1,000 to 10,000 followers. Then you become a micro influencer if you have 10,000 to 100,000 followers. A macro influencer is 100,000 to a million followers. And then you're a mega influencer if you're over a million followers. Those are usually the famous actors and things that are Instagram, singers, those kind of people that get to really that from my research, get to that mega status. There's some influencers that do get up into that macro, but to get to that mega, you really got to have a big following and really be up there. But what I found interesting was, okay, let me go through this first. What I found was Usually they don't start paying you unless until you become a micro follower. That means you got to have at least 10,000 people following you. But for Instagram, they start paying you if you have less. And it gave a little example here. Someone that has around 1,000 followers can make about $10 up to $1,400 per month for every post. That's a lot of money per post. Okay, a nano influencer who has 500 to 10,000 followers get paid between $10 and $100 per post, which just blows my mind. So if you're an influencer and you can get 500 people to follow you, and you do 10 posts, you're gonna make $1,000 just by posting something on social media. And as I said last week, when I was really looking into it, and these influencers, how they got started, what they were doing, I mean, simple things. There's people cooking in the kitchen, recipes. There's people cracking jokes, being silly and goofy things. So anything like that, and people are really watching them. I personally don't have TikTok. I've heard TikTok is really huge. I do have an Instagram, hardly ever on it. Um, and Facebook is what I'm on the most. I use the most, but I'm not really on that either. But I really, not a social media person. But it just blew my mind how people are really making money off of it. I talked about last week too. There's a couple of people that they do because they're I believe they're called macro influencers. They have a lot of influencers. They go to grocery shopping and they come home and watch me stock my pantry. And they're taking all their food out of grocery bags and washing their refrigerator and putting their stuff in the refrigerator in the pantry. And they get thousands and thousands and thousands of views. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, off of that one post, this person's probably making $100 or, and if they're a mega one, thousands of dollars off of restocking your pantry. So again, why am I bringing this up? Because we are in 2024 and we have to get in our mindset to be an entrepreneur. There are so many simple, easy ways that doesn't take much money that you can invest in yourself to help you to be more money minded and to get out of debt. Now, is that a lot? Is it always easy? No, I'm quite sure they got to have, they probably started small and then they have to probably get some more equipment, maybe a better cell phone or lighting or things like that, a little bit of investing in their business. But wow, it's worth it. The other thing I thought that I saw was interesting is the brand. A lot of times these influencers are on social media and they're talking. I just happen to have this bag of chips. Don't judge me. Sitting on my table. But I'm on here and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna have some Cheetos and whatnot. And I can give a rating on them, how well I like them or something like that. They have people at these companies that actually watch these influencers, these new up and coming people, to see how authentic they are. Are they real? They're not acting. We're not acting. We're not putting on a show. It's real life. This is what I really do. And that's my brand and I love it. And they call that branding. They're actually going to promote you before they promote someone who's a mega influencer. They like the bottom man because the bottom man is more real with their content. So people are more apt to follow them than they are to follow. They might follow, I don't know why Whitney Houston's name just came in my head. They might be following the Whitney Houston family or whatnot, or things like that. But they're watching and they're actually in tune with that low man and really paying attention to it. So all of these companies send them all these things that they use: makeup, cups, chips, all these kind of things. So to start your own business and be an entrepreneur, to be an influencer, really doesn't even take you any money, because you're advertising for them, so they're going to send you their products for free. I mentioned last week one girl that I was watching since I was studying, trying to get this together, had mentioned, go ahead, Burlington, and send me a gift card. And the next day, she posted on her social media that Burlington, thanks for promoting us on your channel, or whatever you want to call it, whatever the case might be. And they sent her that gift card, and she posted it. And because she posted it and whatnot, that gets people to go to Burlington to go shop. So why am I talking all about all this again? These are entrepreneur minds. And another young lady that I was watching, she was watching, or she was working at Starbucks. She was a cashier at Starbucks. And when the pandemic happened and they had to homeschool and things like that, and she was, kids are at home, they had made some family changes. And that's how she started being an influencer. And now she's a mega one. And because since 2024, they've actually started, her and her husband, 4 different businesses. She has her YouTube, all her influencers. They do car rentals, because they took that return on their investment, that money that they were making, and they invested it into another business in order to be more money minded and to save. So it can be done. That's my point. Okay, it can be done. So I just used, like I said, being an influencer as an example. There's a lot of delivery services and things now. I know when Uber and Lyft first started, it came out, and you started car shares and things. You can actually, get these customers, and if you treat them right, if you have maybe a snack or a bottle of water or something like that in their car, you can maintain and get their business, and then they'll want to use you all the time. I've had friends saying, yeah, this person has this appointment every week. So they started putting it in a book, and off you go. Now they're doing it on their own without using the Uber or Lyft platform. So they gained their own customers, and they started their own share ride service. So it can be done. How do we get started on things like this? The first thing you have to do is have that mindset. You got to get out of the mindset of, I'm in debt, I can't do it, I don't have any money to start things, a business or anything like that. All right. You have to change your mind. You got to tell yourself that you are an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is somebody that has drive to solve a problem. All right. It's not always going to be easy. You have to realize that from the day one. All right. These people that have all these businesses and the things that I'm mentioning, it looks so easy now, but they had to start at the bottom. It took time. It took effort. It took more work. Say, for an example, they had a job and they started being an influencer and making posts and things at night. They may have lost some sleep. They may have staying up late editing their post or whatever the case might be. They made an investment in themselves, but that investment they made in themselves, they actually got a return from it. Okay. So maybe longer hours. It's going to be more responsibility if you're trying to start another business or job or any, whatever it is that you want to do on the side. Okay. It's going to mean longer hours. It's going to be more responsibility. You may have your regular job in that. I'll give you, for an example, myself. I went back to school, and working a full-time job. It was tough. It was tough going back to school. I had to make a lot of sacrifices, a lot of sleepless nights, writing papers and things like that. But I had to put that time in, that investment in, and I came out with a degree. Okay. So sometimes you got to put something into it to get something out of it. So it's going to take more responsibility. All right. But the nice part about it is once you get things going, you can be your own boss. You can work for yourself. You can pick your own hours. These influencers choose how many posts that they want to post, how many things they want to do. If you start your own share ride services, you choose the same thing like Uber and Lyft. I don't feel like doing it tonight, so you don't turn on the app, right? It's the same thing if you start doing it for yourself. If you get those customers, you can get those customers that oh, okay, I'm going to work from 8 to 4 and then I'm off the rest of the night. But you have to make that initial investment to get into that. All right. So I found this nice article. It was 10 easy steps, or 10, I shouldn't say easy, 10 steps to starting your own business. All right. And that's all these things are. These influencers, these ride share. It's huge now. The delivery services. What is it? DoorDash came to mind. DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, a lot of these apps and things that I'm looking at, and I went on and researched now. If you order something to eat, you can add on. They'll stop at Walgreens for you and pick you up something from the drugstore. They can stop at Price Chopper. They'll stop at a convenience store next to your house. You can add all of these things on. And these businesses are real. They are happening. People are making money off of it. All right. Not really sure what it's making things real easy for us and making us more convenient for us, but it's at a cost. Okay, but they need people, they need drivers, they need things like this to happen, and it's just going to keep on evolving. It's not gonna go smaller. It's going to keep growing. So these are other ways that you can make some extra money to keep yourself get money minded and to get out of debt. Okay, so the 10 ways to starting your own business. The first one is evaluate your business goals. It's the same as when we're talking about being money minded. All right, if you're being money minded, you want to be an entrepreneur. What is it? You have to always set a goal. No matter what you're trying to do in life, you set a goal. We're at graduation time. And we have a lot of people that are kids graduating from high school. They're thinking about what their next step is. That's a goal. Do I want to go to have? In all aspects of our life, we have to set goals. So you have to evaluate your business goal. When you're an entrepreneur, do I want people to work for me, or do I want to have people work for me, or do I want to do all the work myself? How do I start that? What does that look like? What kind of business do you want to get into? What are your hobbies? What are your likes and dislikes? You need to have all these things in mind to help you to set that goal to get yourself started. The why, the what, the who, and the how. All right. And don't always think that you have to have a lot of money to do so. You can start off small and work your way up. And with social media, you can do anything. I mean, people sell everything. You got all sorts of garage sales and all of these things that are estate sales on social media. So there's so many ways of growing your business once you just get it going. All right. So evaluate your business goals. Number 2 is start writing down a business plan. I love writing business plans, as we had to in my degree, we had to create our own business, and we had to write a business plan. And it's not really as hard as you think. You would write a mission. Most businesses, most companies have what's called a mission statement, what their goal is for that business. All right. If it's good customer service, loyal, have a quality product, whatever the case might be, you want to put all that in your statement. You don't want to write a book. You don't need a 6 to 9 page paragraph or letter or nothing. Just 3 or 4 sentences about what your goal is, what you're trying to do, what your mission is, and your company and your brand wants to stand for. Okay. So it takes some thought, take a little time, but you can be creative to do that. So you want to look at that. Again, with the Uber, Lyft, with the influencers and things, these people have all started their own businesses. All right. They've evaluated. They took a look at what was going on. Okay. That brings me to number 3. Conduct some research. Okay. Look into what it's going to cost. Look into what you have to do. How do I get started? Look at others. All right. To see how they got started and what they did. I use for an example the influencer, again, that's on social media, and her husband started that, and now they're renting cars. And they went and bought a car. And in a year's time, that car paid for itself in their rentals. They started rental in a certain area for a certain amount of days or whatnot. They started their own company. put their own money, a little bit of money that they had saved and invest in it. They got insurance and whatnot. Then they were able to go. Now they have, I believe she said the other day, they have 7 cars that they're renting. As a matter of fact, one of the cars wasn't returned. So they were able to locate it with the GPS or whatnot. And whoever had rented the car was in a car, got into an accident or whatnot, and they left the car abandoned. But was right there in the contract. They knew where the person was and whatnot. They were able to call the police, get the insurance and everything, and that person is now responsible for all of that. So it does take some research. You want to make sure that you have make sure you have enough liability if you want to get into some kind of job like that. I can tell you, Ray, we have contractors, we have subcontractors, even at work, and I have to do approve and stuff, landscapers, snowplow, and I did get different bids from different vendors, and I can't use them if they're not insured, because if they're working for us and they messed up or damaged our property, they have to be insured in order to help or in order to pay for the damage that they caused. Okay. So you need to do some research when you're starting to do your own business. Influencers, I mean, your homeowner's insurance and stuff will probably take care of what you have as far as your phones and lighting and all of that. But I'm talking about if you're going to a broader and going outside of your home. I've even saw some children starting their own baking companies at a young age, and they started selling cupcakes and things. I mentioned last week about my little nieces and nephews they do their little lemonade stand and candy stands. All of these are entrepreneur minds. Okay, and do your research in how to conduct that business. Number 4 is to have structure and logistics. You want to have a plan in there. You want to have some structure. You don't want to start off big, all right, and get in over your head. You want to make sure you start off small and see how far you can go. I believe I mentioned last week too, Shark Tank. You see people who invest and their business may be a little bit too big now to do manufacturer. They might want to go out and find investors and things like that. But you want to make sure that you have a structure on that business so you won't get in over your head and they won't fall. All right. A lot of small businesses, it takes at least 2 years for them to really start growing. And at least that it was that way maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. It may not take as long now because there is so much way of advertisement, free advertisement on social media. Social media is the best way to go when you're an entrepreneur and you're talking about moving your business forward, and it's free advertisement. Okay, so that's something that you want to make sure you have. Make sure you have the space for it. Make sure you have the structure for it. Again, I'll talk about a colleague of mine who just left the company, and for a side hustle, he started washing windows and people's home, and out of word of mouth got out, and he just got one of those little counter cards, and then you invest in it. And I see them in the grass all the time. People stick them in the grass, and we clean windows, or we buy homes or whatnot. These are all advertisement in the word of mouth, also on social media, that he was able to quit the corporate job and actually runs his own window washing service. Now he's expanding a little bit. He's not just washing windows, he's cleaning out your gutters and things like that. He said eventually he might get into some landscaping. We'll see, but it starts small. All right. So make sure you have to invest a little bit to get a little bit. He started with a bucket, a few rags, and a squeegee, and now he took what he's earned and invested in some more equipment, and now he's actually running his own company. So it can be possible. It is possible. Okay. If you're doing something as a small business, you may want to consider getting funding. Like I mentioned earlier, getting investments, small business loan. Be careful with those. We can't be careful with any loan, but you don't want to get in over your head. This is something that's on a bigger scale than just being an influencer on social media or a car share rider. All right. Step number 6 is to design your prototype and get feedback about it. Okay, so what is your prototype? If you're coming up with a new jewelry line or a makeup line, you want to try it out, test it, find some customers. You may have to do some freebies. Sometimes they have pop-up shops, they call them. You get some things, you make them, you have a pop-up shop. It may be in a parking lot somewhere or even in your own driveway, and you want to get customer feedback on your product, and you want to get the word out there, because word of mouth is the best way to go to get things out there. You want to get that feedback, good, bad, or indifference. Okay, and listen to the feedback. We do it all the time. Even still today, we have you can Google anything. Everybody wants your feedback. Tell us how you think, how was our service on the back of the receipt. There's a website you can go to. Let everybody wants to know how their business and stuff. Sometimes these things can make you, and they also can break you. So you want to pay attention to the feedback. I send out emails all the time. Call this guest, find out what happened, dive deep into the situation, so you can try to help that situation not happen again. Because the most important thing is, when you're running a business, is you want to increase sales. If you don't have sales, you don't have a business. Okay, and if you lose a customer, all right, word of mouth, it gets out there, and you don't have a bad business, people won't go to you. So feedback's important. Number 7 is put together your leadership team. You can't do it all by yourself. If you start to grow and you get bigger and bigger and bigger, I'll even go to the influencers again. One of the influencers said that somebody asked her to show her children, and she said she showed them in one video and said that she didn't anymore because her son has his own TikTok. So what is she teaching? She's teaching her children how to be influencers so they can get followers, so they can earn as well. And what I liked about it too was, she was teaching them how to invest and spend their money. How did she say it? They each had a card, and they get paid or whatnot, their allowance or not, and then they get a certain amount for their toiletries and stuff. And then once that's done for the month, whatever, they're gonna go buy them, the Walmart brand or whatever. So they're teaching them the value of money. And I'm watching this and like, wow, this is great. These things are that we didn't have and weren't able to do growing up. How to be money minded even at a young age, and being an influencer at a young age for them, and they're getting that little money. It's not against the law. It's not child labor. They're in front of a phone, making a video and making money off of it. So it's good to invest. All right. So put together your leadership. I was talking about your leadership team. So if you want somebody to work with you to help you out, it could be your children, it could be your husband, it could be your family, doing it all together. All right. Number 8 is develop your product. Making sure don't just stop at one product. Again, I mentioned earlier the young lady who started off as an influencer, and now they're running 4 different businesses. It starts there. It depends on how much of an entrepreneur you want to be. How far do you want to go? How much money do you want to make? One thing that I like to see and hear from these influencers are, they didn't realize how big it was going to grow and how big it was going to blow up for them, and they never expected to be that far. But what I liked about a lot of those that are in that nano and micro is that they're not looking to get rich. They just want to be, well off, put money away for their college. They don't want, the kids to have a good life and things like that. Don't have to live check to check. But the biggest thing that most of them like is that they don't have to, be a 9 to 5. They can do anything, they want. I mean, when I tell you these influencers are doing it, I mean, people are watching them clean their homes. It's nuts, but they're making money off of it, and people are doing it. All right. Number 9 is get to work. On starting your own business. To me, you've already been working since number 1. But what they mean by get to work is get your word out there, start advertising, get your platform out there, your mission space, your mission statement. Your brand is very important. Whatever it is that you're selling, whatever product it is, even if it's customer service, as far as doing your ride share. Even if it's that, you be the best ride share person that you can be, because it's word of mouth. Get it, get the word out there. Get to work. Hard work pays off. And number 10 is plan for growth, meaning don't stop there. Again, that family that started it, influencing during the pandemic, is now doing 4 different business. You always want to continue to grow. Whatever your plans are, you can achieve them. If they can do it, friends, family, whoever's going to watch this in the future, whoever's watching now, if people can be on social media and they can be cleaning their house, cleaning their oven, changing a diaper, filling the refrigerator, walking the dog, playing, the children can be playing in the playground, all these influencers, and have so many people following it and watching them, and they're making money off of it. Imagine what we could do if you just put your mind to it. It's all about having that mindset. So make sure that you get put on the mind of an entrepreneur. I know you might be in debt. I know you may not be financially where you want to be, where you need to be, but it starts today with changing your mind. All right. That's my meal for tonight. God bless everyone. Lord's willing, I'll be back with you again next Friday. Have a great and blessed week. And remember, if you give to God first, He will definitely bless you. God bless you and have a great night.